Меня зовут Алевтина. Я считаю, что эта война – это преступление.
Меня зовут Дмитрий, я из России, и я против войны.
Меня зовут Ева Рапопорт, и я против этой чудовищной войны.
Меня зовут Георгий, я родился в России, и я категорически против войны.
Меня зовут Алла, я из России, и я против войны.
Меня зовут Александр, и я против войны.
Меня зовут Ирина, я из Санкт-Петербурга, я русская. Это определенно не моя война.
Меня зовут Федор, я из России, и я против этой войны.
Меня зовут Светлана Махахей, и я против войны.
Меня зовут Андрей, я из России, я против этого вторжения.
Я Олеся, я из России, и я против войны. Это не моя война.
I'm Alevtina Bradulina. I'm a social anthropologist. I'm 30 years old. I was born in Ukraine in Cherkasy, but I have lived my whole life in Moscow. Before the war, I used to see myself as a part of civil society. I went to rallies, into the streets, to protests for the freedom of internet, and was donating to independent media and to the non-government organization. When they mentioned that there would be a 15-year sentence for calling a war. So I thought that maybe I might be more useful as an anthropologist and write without censorship outside Russia. People that have stayed inside Russia and that they oppose the war and they go into the protests, they are heroes. But we have fled, we're not as heroic as them. So I think the least we can do is just talk freely. What can we do with all this guilt and crime and everything? It is a crime of Putin and he should be judged. It was actually the emotion, I think, that we should have never experienced in 21st century. The emotion of the immigrants leaving Russia in the beginning of the 20th century. It's like when you leave everything behind and you don't know where you go and you have to start a new life unprepared and not knowing if you ever come back. It was really emotionally difficult. I'll show you. They're hidden right here. It's a photo of my parents. They are young here and so sweet. They're kind of hugging each other. And this is a drawing of a church. I was volunteering for a project on preservation of ruins of this church as a memorial of people that were displaced. You see water is everywhere and houses are like underwater. All the area was submerged due to the construction of hydropower plants. It could be named brain drain because a lot of people that are coming here are young. It's like 25, 35 years old. They're good professionals and they used to participate somehow in political activity. And so that people with European values. The one thing they have in common is that everyone perceives this war as a nightmare, as something that should have never happened. Another thing that I really like about people that I have already talked to, they still care about Russia. They do not want just to save themselves, start a new, better in economical life and in a good state and so on. I hope that people that have fled Russia during the war will become this social capital and human capital that we will need to restore Russia after the war. And after this regime falls.
My name is Andrey, I'm 43 years old. I lived in a small town near Moscow and I worked as a lawyer in the sector of consumer rights. I was a political activist. I never voted for Vladimir Putin and I always consider him a criminal and a dictator of Russia. I took part in rallies and protesting actions against Putin's regime. I was arrested 3 times. I spent about a month in prison. There were hundreds of penalties and the police knows me very well in my little town near Moscow and the police comes to me regularly to urge me not to take part in some deeds. It was very scary to be at home with my wife and to wait every second that the police comes and arrest me. First we went to Armenia, then we tried to go to Europe, but we failed. If you say Russia invades to Ukraine, our government says it is untruth and you must be punished. Because Russia does not invade in Ukraine, there is no war, there is no killings of civilians from the point of view of our official powers. It's a crime against the humanity. I have many friends in Ukraine. My wife lived in Ukraine in her childhood. I feel myself like a German would feel himself in 30s or 40s. A German who understands that Hitler is a criminal and who wanted Germany to be defeated. The majority of population of Russia support this war, support our dictator, and I was very disappointed and I just lowered my activity because I didn't see a way to win in this situation. My own future is a shadow for me. My passport is expiring in 3 months. The only hope to correct Russia is in its defeating in this war with Ukraine. Unfortunately, I must say I want my country to be defeated.
My name is Eva Rapoport. I'm 38 years old. I'm cultural anthropologist and photographer. Currently, I'm volunteering for the ARC project, helping people who have fled Russia. The ARC began soon after the war began, and obviously a lot of people had to leave the country because the war was, that was too much. This is the only way they can disagree with what is happening. The laws were changing rapidly, and something they posted, protests they participated in, people who worked as journalists, people who were trying to do something at least like in their local, regional, political level. All these people are leaving because they might be actually arrested, they might go to jail for their beliefs, their activities, and the ARC is primarily trying to help these kinds of people, not just people who decided to leave the country because they disagreed, but people who are leaving because otherwise they will be arrested. Everybody remembers Soviet Union from their own experience or from like their families. People know that there was Iron Curtain, and there is no guarantee that there won't be Iron Curtain again. And like if you don't get on a plane today, maybe tomorrow there'll be no more planes coming out of Russia at all. So there was this idea to start helping those who had to leave without a plan, maybe without their savings, with very little idea of what to do next. It's crowd-funded project, so we are collecting donations. We are providing them with accommodation so they can catch their breath and figure things out, what will be the next thing for them. So we are allowing people to stay rent-free in these apartments we found for them, and many of them are happy that they can also stay together with people who speak the same language, people who are dealing with the same issues, and they can cooperate on something, they can figure out how to survive here together. No matter what happens in Russia, next day, next month, whatever, still we'll have to live with this stigma of being from the country that has started this terrible war.
My name is Alexander, I'm 40 years old and I'm a vlogger. I'm from Moscow and now I'm in Istanbul because of the so-called law on fakes. My vlog was about illegal activities of Russian police. This video I named New Year Ethnic Cleansing in Moscow. In the New Year holidays, Russian police clean central parts of Moscow from people with non-Slavic, non-European appearance. His boss told me that they were detaining potential terrorists. He said that it's okay they were detaining people with non-Slavic appearance. There is no reason to name these people as potential terrorists. The main topic now is what is happening in Ukraine. I published some posts and articles against war between Russia and Ukraine. According to the law on fakes, I should be punished or even imprisoned because even if you say let it be peace, it is also the cause of persecution. Turkey is a good country and I really like it, but the main purpose for me is Ukraine, but I cannot enter Ukraine because of my Russian passport. I have very good relationship with the people of Ukraine. A lot of people helped me. I remember one case when I visited Kiev in the metro wagon. An old woman gave me unlimited ticket and she said that will be more useful for you than for me. And now I'm trying to imagine what is happening with her and with other people who helped me, whether they are trying to escape bombs in metro. It's too hard. I know that I paid taxes to Russian government and that's why I paid this war, and I understand that blood on my hands.
My name is Irina Gaisina. I am from St. Petersburg. I am a politician, I would say. A member of Municipal Council in St. Petersburg since 2019. I'm a member of an opposition Liberal Party Yabloko. I was deeply involved in all political and activist processes, protest rallies, historical building protection, squares and parks protection, and so on. After the beginning of war in Ukraine, many politicians and activists appeared to be at risk of police persecution. When one morning I woke up and saw in news 80 of my colleagues and friends were searched by police and some of them were detained, and then they were accused of terrorism case. Actually, I was afraid because I feel it like a lottery. You can be accused or you can stay safe, but nobody knows when it's your turn. Some of those people were very loyal to the authorities, but it did not save them from the persecution. I never was loyal, so I decided that it's time to leave. I discussed it with my husband. He supported me, and within a week or two, I was in Istanbul. There are not so many destinations when you can get from Russia. Now, no Europe for us. It's just maybe Georgia, Turkey, Armenia, and that's all, and maybe Uzbekistan. To be Russian nowadays is difficult because people think that Russians are toxic at all now. Russian passport is toxic itself for this moment. And this cancel culture works against us because, you know, Russians are different. There are 140 million Russians in Russia and all over the world, and we are very different. And some of us stand for humanity, against the war, for democracy, for liberal values, and we are not the same. Леночка, привет! Слышишь меня? So I have 3 children. They are 2 daughters, 10 and 6 years old, and a youngest son, he's 4. And it was not easy, of course. My husband is my hero because now he's taking care of the 3 children. Thursday. They're quite small, and of course they're missing me, and I miss them very much. Есть кто-нибудь дома-то? Лёвик или бабушка или кто-нибудь? Или Лидик? А кто сегодня забирает малыша?
Кажется, папа.
Ну все, скучаю по тебе. This war nobody in the world needed, and Russians less than others. And my heart is with Ukraine and stand for Ukraine. And I hope the war will be finished soon, and we Russians can somehow help Ukrainians to restore what they lose in this war.
My name is Fedor. I'm 25 years old. Before I left Russia, I was a student in Moscow State University, Department of Geography. Last years, I take part in protest activity in Russia. I take part in protest rallies. I take part in the election campaign of opposition candidate. I am in the age of conscripts and I can be conscripted in Russian army. To be conscripted in Russian army is the worst nightmare for me, because in this case I will be a part of Russian aggression against Ukraine. I can be sent to Ukraine. I started work in a delivery service and each taxes financing the war. Totally morally unacceptable for me. Invasion in Ukraine begins, I understand that I cannot stay in Russia, and I try to live in the first country in which I don't require a visa. Many thousands of Russians which don't support, but unfortunately in Russia now they cannot express its anti-war position safely. This is the house delivered by Russian immigrants through the Kovchek or the ARC organization, which is sponsored by some Russian opposition politicians in exile now. I finished art school during my childhood. Since then, I tried to practice in drawing, don't lose my drawing skills. When I finished my drawings suitable for sale, I tried to sell it on the streets, for example, in Istiklal. Unfortunately, I have my personal tragedy because my parents actively support this war, supports Putin. They thought that Ukrainians are just Russians who forgot these Russian roots, and so they should suffer from war.
Разом нас багато, нас не подолати.
Росія знищила 408 дитячих садочків. Росія, яка прийшла нас визволяти, знищує наших дітей і їх майбутнє.
Україна – це Маріуполь.
Russia is destroying the lives of children of Ukraine and their futures.
Rus işgalciler Rusya 408 anaokulunu yıktı.
Sessizlik öldürür! Sessizlik öldürür!
Sessizlik öldürür!
The stripes of the Russian flag is white, blue, red. When the invasion started, there was an idea to remove the bloody red stripe from it, to make it white, blue, white, and it became the symbol of those Russians who are against this invasion and this war.